legend is so great for my city. I'm the realest one that's repping. Oh my God, if I die, I'm a legend.
Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm the Pro Gaming Wolf, and today I want to talk to you about a problem that I'm having with my car. Let me go to the beginning and tell you when the problem started. At the time, I was in college and just bought this car and was doing a motor vehicle course. So whenever I caught up in coursework or I was ahead, I was allowed to bring my car in. The first thing that actually needed doing to it was the frame that holds your headlights, your radiator, all that sort of stuff. Because basically, it looked like it'd been in an impact. It was all crashed into, it was causing one of the headlights to be too high, and I actually needed a new headlight as well. At the time I worked at Euro Car Parts, so I could get the parts like quite cheap, so it was all good. But there was one time where I thought I'd do the service on the car, so that being the oil filter, air filter, and not everyone does it, but I did the spark plugs too. At the time, the water pump it was making a weird noise. I didn't fully diagnose it, I just kind of knew it was the water pump. A lot of people would say it could have been the alternator, but it wasn't, it was the water pump. But anyway, replaced the water pump, replaced all the bits and bobs for the service. And I understand cars actually, let me adjust this. I understand that engines run rough after doing a service. One of the reasons is because the oil has to circulate around the engine to lubricate everything. Also, the ECU has got to adapt or adjust because of the new spark plugs. When I did that, I give it like 10 minutes. Bear in mind I did a water pump as well, so I had to bleed all the antifreeze through the engine as well. Just leaving it for a good 10 minutes, making sure there's no cold spots, all that sort of stuff, just leaving it running. Everything was all good. So was finishing up, just put the engine on to get it back out of the workshop. And that's when I could feel the engine wasn't running right still. It was whenever you rev it up, you know, it was hesitating slightly, and I'm really picky with my cars, so when I went to my teacher about it, he said, oh yeah, there's a slight misfire in it, but it's fine. Misfire, that's the key word. Whenever you rev it up and keep it in between a certain RPM, I can't remember where it was at the time, but it was a very specific RPM. The engine was like, you go past the RPM, it seemed fine. If you go below, if you went below, the car was still jerking. So I double checked that the spark plugs that I put in was correct. Looked at all, did research, made sure the gap was okay, and yeah, that was all fine. Read on online forums that it's most likely the ignition coil. And something in the back of my head was telling me it's not any of this. The timing is gone. I don't know how or why, but something tells me the timing's slightly out. And it's a very weird symptom to have when it comes to timing. When your timing's out, usually no matter what the engine can know, it would always be off. Or it could be too far advanced, or, you know. But something was telling me it was the timing, but I did a stupid thing and I bought a new ignition coil. It didn't do anything. I mean, it's preventative. I think it's like preventive maintenance, I guess you could say. Basically, I've been driving the car for a while, and so a lot of people say it's a 3-litre engine. 3-litre. It's a 3-cylinder engine, so they're not the most balanced engines. You always have a slight vibration and stuff like that, but it still wasn't right. I've been driving the car for a couple of months, and I just gave up with it. I was like, I can't be bothered. I'm just going to give it into a garage. And the first thing they said was the timing. I didn't even tell them anything about changing the plugs or anything like that. They said they could hear the chain. So I said, okay, can you get it fixed for us? They went, yep, I'll have it done for this afternoon. Awesome, you know. I did ask them, they was on the phone to me when they said, we found, I've got it up on here. So basically they said the timing chain had slipped, twisted, and the actual tensioner itself is very brittle. I don't know what they meant by that, either they'd rusted or it's not putting off enough tension or God knows. I didn't really want to ask them about it, I just wanted it fixed. So I had it fixed and the engine was, it was running perfectly. Oh my god, it was perfect. I know it's not the most powerful engine or anything like that, but when you've got a working engine, it's just happy days. I did ask them when I was on the phone to them though, to check the tappets, as they are known to go about 68,000 miles. That's like the average of what I've seen on forums and stuff like that. Because I know with these, the timing on these engines, it is such a pain just trying to get to it. But the garage went, yeah, no worries, and they called me back in an hour and they said, your tappets are fine. We've re-lubricated them, we've double checked them, they're fine. So they confirmed that they was okay. So I'm going to shut the past me up and tell you what's going on. Please forgive me as I'm not really a good recorder and more of a get it done person. I just need new parts and get to work. Anyway, this is what the engine used to sound like. I think you get it, it just doesn't sound good. So, first things first was that we removed most of the intake stuff, as it's covering the engine mount that needs to be removed. Then we emptied out all the oil and antifreeze. The car at this point tried to throw a curveball as the sump plug was chewed up. Good job I bought a new one. Then, we removed the ignition coil and rocker cover, put a jack under the engine to support its weight, and remove the engine mount. This is when things got more interesting. The more we removed, the more we see this black gasket stuck in the wrong places. We got rid of everything to remove the pan cover and realised that someone had used silicone gasket maker. Please, under no circumstances, do not use this. We got the camshaft and the old tappets out. Something is stuck though. We soaked the new ones in shower oil for 20 minutes and they were refitted. At this point I started to get worried. There is no gasket for the sun and the old residue oil started seeping out of it. So tomorrow I'll be getting a new gasket. New day for working on the car, and what a beautiful day it is. There were 14 E12 bolts holding in the sump and 3 gearbox bolts that needed to be removed. After some persuasion, and I mean some real persuasion, it came off, and what a mess it was. I highly recommend that you or your mechanic check out your sump, as you may be surprised on how bad the oil is. A quick cleanup and it should be ready to go. Except the gasket didn't fit. Fuck. Everything removed was then refitted and the fluids were filled up. Now, are you ready to hear this beast start up? That will be in the next episode. See you then.